Goodbye.
Okay, thank you. Public dollars continue to flow into independent schools while our public schools are under-resourced. If elected, what will you do to address this concern? And I'm going to start with Janice and go that direction.
This is a really big question for us because it's a trend that's been developing over the past years, given the current funding formula. And when our funding formula results in school boards having to translate inadequate funds and cut their programs, and it translates into overcrowded classrooms, and then you'll find that those cuts result in the exit from local public schools of students whose parents can afford to place them in private or alternative schools, and with them go the per capita funding needed by the public school system to provide the programs and facilities crucial in ensuring fully developed and well-rounded students. So School District 44 has lost 800 students to schools outside its catchment area to date. And what we're getting, I think, here is a two-tiered school system, which is a huge concern socially when you have a flow of public dollars into independent schools, and our public schools are left with often the high needs students, facilities they can't maintain, and the overcrowded classrooms, as I mentioned. So we've got to rethink the investment in education along the lines of what is a priority as our society and what is more needing of investment at this point in time than our youth, than our students. So we've got a widening rift, I would suggest, between public and private schools that has to be knitted back together again. I don't see this Liberal government addressing it in any significant way, and I would suggest that it would be a priority. It is a priority for our party. Where's it go?
I guess it is a problem, but I think we have to look back and saying that, if you're focusing only on the public school system, which appears to be somewhat stagnant from what I'm hearing, a system, for example, that's going to be similar throughout the whole province. I think what's really needed is the opportunity for small businesses, for example, who want to bring a curriculum together that allows for technology, that allows for differences than just the regular curriculum that's being offered in the public school systems. We need to expand our horizon on that perspective, especially if we're paying a lot of money per child and it's not working out. We can't keep flooding money into something that's not working that well. So we have to take a look at the alternative.
Right now what we're doing is we're looking on how much money we want to put on education, and it ends up determining what we get. What I'd like to see is for British Columbians to come together and to decide what they want. What kind of education do we want for our children and for our workers? Let's do the exercise the other way and then see how much it would cost. I think we can make it happen. We just need to think differently and have a different approach to education. We have great infrastructure already in place. Now, the problem too, and I'm changing to another subject, between private and public, the real big issue that I understand why people are against funding private schools is because they have admission criteria. And then the public schools are left with differently abled children, and that makes their load harder. We need to address the needs of these children and not have them put in daycare in regular school. Make sure that they have the need, that their needs are met so that they don't become a weight for us when they grow up. We have to get their full potential. Right now, families from all over Canada are moving to Alberta because they offer preventive programs for autistic children. I know we can do better in British Columbia for these children. Another big issue in this riding is we need to help families that have English as a second language We need to make sure that their children are in contact with English as soon as possible so that they're not handicapped when they arrive in school.
Yeah, BC Conservatives believe that education should be funded equally on a per capita basis, whether you want to send your kid to a faith-based school, to a charter school, to a private school, or to a public school. We believe the parent should have the choice, not some bureaucrat in Victoria. I believe that we need to have higher standards in our public schools. The government has been lax in that category. We need to, funding needs to be increased, and we can do that by cutting wasteful government spending. There's a lot of wasteful government spending that we can cut. For example, the $3 billion Portman Bridge that's going to be built. I think $3 billion is a little bit too high for just one bridge. The Liberals think otherwise. We could save money there, transfer it to education. The Liberals are thinking about building a SkyTrain into the Fraser Valley. That's a very expensive system. It could be better if they have a light rail system in the Fraser Valley at a third of the cost. So we can be more efficient with our tax dollars for education and put the children first, not some bureaucrat in Victoria.
So the lady, yes.
My question is about education, but it's more geared towards the future of technical electives and programs in the high school. As a parent of a child with a learning disability, I need to know that my tax dollars are going towards programs for a child who is not university material. The only way to keep these kids in school is to keep them interested and to teach them something that they will use in real life, and they need the experience in school. It can't be left to them going off and figuring out what they might like to do after high school. So I need to know that my tax-paying dollar is going to lead my child to employment after high school. So I want to know where you stand on keeping these programs in the school.
Sure. Thank you for the question. You know, ironically, I have two sisters back in Montreal, and both of them are teachers. One is retired now, but she was a special need teacher, and she had a lot of students. In fact, doesn't have a child of her own, but those were her children. Coming to the future here in British Columbia, and we talk about equity and equality or opportunities. I think we need to have or give people the opportunity, for example, to set up their own school system, for example. People like my sister, for example, who would like to perhaps come out to Vancouver and maybe set up a special needs school privately, because it is necessary, it is required, and it's good to keep these children together. But we can't keep forcing something through a public school system that isn't working. So I think that that's very important, that we set something up that the children, in fact, can relate to and surround their friends as they continue to grow up with, and have their lives enriched. A lot of advertising saying if you have a problem with your math, you have a problem because you're dyslexic, or you have a problem with whatever it is, here's an opportunity, in fact, to send these people privately to these schools, make sure that we can give as better or as good as an education that we possibly can.